Yo, what is up, guys? We are back with another review, and we are back with AEW Worlds End 2024. And I was going into the show hoping this would be a better version of Worlds End than what we got last year. Last year, we got match after match after match that meant absolutely nothing. And I'll be honest, this year was a better card. This year was a better card by far. In terms of what we got, maybe not the build going into the card, but in terms of what we got from the card, much better than last year. Much better output than last year. So, with that being said, let's get into the very first match of the night. And that was a semi-final match from the AEW Continental Classic between Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. Now, this is the second or third time they are up against each other, with Kyle Fletcher winning the last exchange as far as I can remember. And this time, it is for the stakes to enter the final match later in the night against either Kazuchika Okada or Ricochet. Let's get into this match. So the match started off very, very hot with chop exchanges back and forth by both men, and then some counter wrestling from both men, showing that they are pretty equal at this moment and that they know each other pretty well, which kind of makes sense since it's two best friends going at it, and of course they've wrestled a couple times before. So in the beginning of the match, Ospreay lands a cannonball dive off of the apron onto Fletcher, which then turns the tides for the moment. But that doesn't last too long, as after fighting on the outside, leads to a powerbomb on the apron by Kyle Fletcher, and then he follows that up with a lawn dart into the barricade, causing Ospreay to get color, causing Ospreay to bleed. And boy, did he bleed. He was gushing all over the place with blood. So that was a bit violent, but hey, that's what we come to expect from Kyle Fletcher and from this match now. Kyle had some good heat throughout this match after the crowd was chanting "F you, Kyle" chants. So he got some good heat with this crowd, and that's all you can ever ask for. Ospreay slowed down the match massively, or Ospreay slowed down himself, massively after the cut, and selling the effects of all the blood loss. Like, he was staggering around, he was taking moments to breathe. You could see that the blood loss was affecting him in this situation. Ospreay then, after some offense by Kyle Fletcher, which he really dominated the match, Ospreay begins to fight back with a huge clothesline onto Fletcher, which he then follows up with a lawn dart of his own into the turnbuckle, so getting a little bit of get back. Although Fletcher's was into the steel steps, this is onto the turnbuckle, a little bit different, but getting his get back. Ospreay then lands a standing Spanish fly, but Fletcher manages to kick out just before the 3 count. And now Ospreay had a bit of control. And for some reason, now that he gets his control, he decides to start doing the whole fighting spirit. You give me a chop, I'll give you a chop exchange. And I was like, this was not needed. You're in desperate need of a win here. You are fighting for your life. We don't need your fighting spirit stuff here. Anyway, we then had a pair of reverse power bombs by each man, which then allowed Ospreay to land at the Oz Cutter for a near fall. So it was power bombs reversed, and then eventually Ospreay gets the breakaway and lands Oz Cutter. Fletcher takes a page out of Ospreay's book later on in the match and lands a hidden blade, and both men go down for a while. So that was pretty cool. Learning from his friend at the end of the day. So both men exchange headbutts, but then on the very last one, Kyle try to hit. Ospreay lands a huge super kick. Nice moment that, I'm not going to lie, because he was like flying in midair, and then the super kick. Fletcher tries to hang on the ropes and pin Ospreay like he's done in the Continental Classic, but the ref sees this, and while arguing with the ref, Ospreay lands a hidden blade, but Kyle kicks out at 2.99. So as you can see, just back and forth stuff, near falls now. We're now at near fall brigade. This is where we are in this match. Kyle Fletcher then lands a brainbuster, which Ospreay then kicks out of. So then he can land a huge powerbomb again, but Ospreay kicks out just in time. So it was a brainbuster and then lands a powerbomb, but Ospreay still kicks out. Crazy. Fletcher then goes for the brainbuster again. He doesn't quite land it this time, as Ospreay reverses it and lands a Styles Clash out of nowhere and gets the pinfall on the Styles Clash. Who would have thought? Who would have thought the Styles Clash can actually finish a match in 2024? But that's exactly what we got. And I thought this match had very decent psychology. I'm not going to lie. These two can go over the top when it comes to what they do, but in this match, I felt they didn't. Ospreay kicked out of a brainbuster, but it wasn't the top rope brainbuster that Kyle Fletcher likes to do on the turnbuckle. So he didn't kick out of his finisher necessarily. Ospreay landed the hidden blade, kicked out of that, but not the Stormbreaker. So no finishes kicked out of here. Good psychology. I really liked this. And going into this match, I wanted both men to be in the final. Both men. So for me, this was a lose-lose situation. Either man deserved to be in the final, but on this case, it was Will Ospreay. Judging by the outcome of the final match, I'm not sure it should have been him. Not sure. I don't know. I'm glad we got that match, but I'm not sure it should have been Ospreay in that final if he wasn't going to win it. Spoiler alert, sorry, but I'm sure you've seen the show by now if you're watching this review. With that being said, we gave the match 3.75 stars. It was good, but not 4-star match quality just yet. If they had an extra 5 minutes, easily. We then moved on to the second semi-final, which was Kazuchika Okada and Ricochet in the semi-final. This was different to the previous matches. This one started with a lockup rather than the fast-paced action that we saw from Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher, which makes sense since it's Okada. Ricochet sends Okada out of the ring with a Hurricane Rana and looks to land a dive, but Okada just comes in and lands a lariat before Ricochet can make the dive. I assume to kind of assert himself as the heel, but that kind of doesn't work. Okada now uses his slow, methodical style to then just break down and ground Ricochet throughout the match. A little bit slow at points, but that's Okada at times. Okada looks to kick the back of Ricochet at one point, when he runs the ropes and kicks the back, but instead he slaps that bald head of Ricochet and gets probably one of the biggest pops of the night. So slapping a bald head gets you pops. Ricochet uses more and more heel tactics as the match goes on. Like there's a moment where he even pulls Okada into the ropes, like pulls him down in a way, and then that's like almost like a low blow into the ropes. That sort of stuff that Ricochet wouldn't do in the past, but he's been doing more and more recently. This ends up being a heel versus heel match at the end of the day, and I don't know. Somehow Okada ended up becoming the face for this match alone, which is kind of annoying because he's going to be the heel in the next match. I don't know. I find those things annoying. I really do. I don't know what you guys think about all of that, but I kind of find those things pretty annoying. Okada then turns the tides after landing a flatliner, which he later follows up with a DDT. A lot of DDTs from Okada in the show. A lot of DDTs. Ricochet then uses his speed to land a backdrop, followed by a springboard moonsault for a 2-count backdrop suplex, that is, by the way. Another close. Now we're getting to Pinfall Brigade, like I mentioned earlier. This is Near Fall Brigade. Then some back and forth wrestling where Okada looks for the tombstone, but Ricochet reverses into his vertigo move, followed by a shooting star press, which Okada kicks out at 2.99. When that happened, I was like, surely not. Surely Ricochet is not about to beat Okada, but of course he did not. As Okada reverses an attack by Ricochet into a body slam, which he follows up by the Rainmaker. 1, 2, 3, Kazuchika Okada moves on to the final of the Continental Classic, where he will be taking on Will Ospreay. Now, this was a decent match, but it never quite felt like they left third gear. It felt like they were always coasting along, and it more being about Ricochet slowly turning heel. This could have been a Dynamite match. That's how I felt. And decent work from both men, though, but it's clear Okada is entering the final in better shape than Ospreay. Ospreay is a bloody mess. He is going to suffer through this final, and Okada looks like he coasted through this match, which he did, and that is not going to affect him. Either way, I gave this match 3 stars because there was some decent work and some decent psychology throughout this match. Nothing terrible, nothing offensive when it comes to wrestling, so 3 stars it is. However, post-match, we did get a little something as Swerve Strickland came out and handed the crowd toilet paper to throw to Ricochet. Obviously, I'm assuming you all saw fans throwing toilet paper at Ricochet at the Hammerstein Ballroom, while Swerve Strickland and Prince Nana are making it 10 times worse. And it looks like Ricochet is about to either cry or crash out. I can't tell. His face looks like I'm either going to cry or I'm going to crash out. You can never quite tell with him. And we then moved on to the AEW Women's World Championship match between Mariah May, the champion, taking on Thunder Rosa, who is a former champion in her own right. So, this is in a Tijuana Street Fight, by the way. Don't know why. This match didn't have a lot of build, didn't have a lot of heat to it, but we'll take the Tijuana Street Fight, we'll do it. So during her Mariah May's entrance, she actually gets in the face of Thunder Rosa's father, who is at ringside. And this angers Thunder Rosa, so she takes a dive to the outside on Mariah May, and match gets started. Back and forth start in the ring, with Thunder Rosa eventually getting the advantage, allowing her to start getting weapons from under the ring, pulling out chairs, pulling out trash cans, pulling out tables, whatever she can find. Then eventually both women fight to the top of the stage, the top of the ramp, where Mariah May lands a DDT before going to grab a bottle of tequila, taking a swig, and spitting in the face of Thunder Rosa. Just heelish stuff, I guess, just trying to cement her as one of the biggest heels in women's wrestling right now. Then we go back down at ringside, where Rosa seems to smash a glass bottle, or glass, maybe just a glass cup, onto Mariah May's head. They didn't really expand on that too much. I think that should have been a bigger spot than what it was. Anyway, Thunder Rosa tries to pin Mariah May, kicks out. I don't know. You get hit with a bottle, I think you're going down. Hey. Anyway, Thunder Rosa grabs a pinata out of somewhere. I think it was out of one of the trash cans. Tears it up to reveals thumbtacks. And she looks to land a pile driver, but nope, it's reversed by Mariah May, and she lands Mayday into the thumbtacks, and Thunder Rosa just kicks out just in time. Great stuff. I was enjoying this match up to this point. I really was. Then we get to Mariah May disrespecting Thunder Rosa's dad once again, stealing his walking stick and acting like him, like she was acting like an old person walking all crippled. And this, of course, angers Thunder Rosa again. But eventually Mariah May wraps barbed wire around her leg and goes for a running knee attempt, but misses, and that's when Thunder Rosa capitalizes and uses her dad's walking stick to beat the hell out of Mariah. I thought that was pretty cool. Thunder Rosa then uses a slanted table to ramp up and hit a drop kick, when she runs up the table. She's done it a couple times. And then rolls her back into the ring, Mariah into the ring, and gets a near fall. Now we're getting to the nitty gritty of the match towards the end now. Thunder Rosa wraps a chain around Mariah's neck and chokes her, but Mariah so she's busy choking Mariah, okay? Mariah looks like she's about to tap, but there's a bag in the corner of the ring, which I assume came out maybe from one of the trash cans where the piñata was or whatever. She finds dirt, which is apparently from someone's grave in Tijuana or in Mexico or somewhere. A family member or something. I don't know exactly. The commentary team didn't quite explain properly. And she throws it into the face of Thunder Rosa, allowing Mariah May to capitalize, and she lands a pile driver from the apron through a table and gets the pin right there at ringside, because apparently in a street fight, falls count anyway. Didn't know that, but we'll take it. And she wins the match. Hard-fought match by both women, with Mariah May coming out on top, and hopefully this adds a bit more legitimacy to Mariah May's title reign, because I do think Mariah May has struggled a bit to cement this title reign as something important. And I get it's a tough ask to follow up from Toni Storm's title reign, but this definitely helps. This definitely helps. And I gave it 3.75 stars. I thought this match was really, really good. Really good. Well-deserved of the 3.75 stars. And maybe not the best women's match of the night, but we'll get into that. Good stuff. What more can I ask for? Mariah May retains her women's championship. We then moved on to Adam Cole versus MJF, the match nobody wants to see, the match we want to be, or the rivalry that we want to be completely done now with. This is AEW's version of Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. That's what this is. Nobody wants to see it anymore. We're all done. Let's move on. So, I even wrote in my notes, I hope this match is the end of their feud. This rivalry has not worked, and still to this day, the heel to face dynamic does not make sense. I'm not going to go into much detail into that, but it's all facts. So this match basically went from main eventing Wembley Stadium to being the fourth match on the card. To being mid-card. Do you guys understand that? We went from being top of the card, main event of Wembley, to mid-card. Wild. Really, really, really wild. So MJF rolls out the ring at the very start of the match, but Adam Cole blindsides him with a big boot to the face on the outside, and he looks to follow up with Panama Sunrise early, but MJF rolls out wisely once again. Adam Cole gets pulled into the steps at ringside, and that causes him to bleed, barely. It was like a little smear of blood. It's like he popped a pimple and it started bleeding, which MJF was quick to target though, but the blood just didn't come. And when we just saw Will Ospreay, and now seeing this, it looked pretty weak. I'm not gonna lie. We then get a backbreaker from MJF onto Adam Cole, but only for a near fall. MJF then looks to land Panama Sunrise of his own, but Adam Cole counters and gains the advantage. Adam Cole misses Panama Sunrise, so he goes for one of his own, and then Cole sells the leg as if he hurt his ankle once again when he missed Panama Sunrise. MJF then targets this leg straight away, and we're now onto the MJF show where he's going at Adam Cole's leg. Adam Cole collapses after an Irish whip into the corner, so MJF throws him into the corner. He just collapses. So what does MJF do? He goes outside and he starts bashing the leg onto the ring post. After selling, Adam Cole basically sold his leg to the point of no return. Like, he was not able to do anything. And now all of a sudden he's able to run around and land Shining Wizards and whatever the case is. So that was a little bit disappointing for me. And, the psychology of this match was disappointing to me as a whole because it just felt like they were doing stuff for the sake of doing stuff. And nothing really meant anything. So eventually Adam Cole lands Panama Sunrise and a Shining Wizard. After selling his leg, he's now able to do all this stuff. And the crowd just simply did not care when MJF kicked out. They want this done. They really want this done. So Adam Cole goes for Shining Wizard again, but MJF dives into Adam Cole's leg, taking him out again, and then locks in a figure 4. But Adam Cole is able to roll it over and reverse the pressure. I wish they focused more on the figure 4. MJF fakes getting hit by Taven and Bennett on the outside as he looks to get the Dynamite ring and they standing in front. The ref then injects them both, and this is where MJF grabs the Dynamite ring. Adam Cole gets to MJF before he can use the Dynamite ring, and then Adam Cole puts the ring on himself but gets hit with a low blow from MJF, and MJF lands the Heat Seeker and gets the win over Adam Cole. Just please be done now. Please be done. The match is over. I don't want to see this again. But post-match, MJF looks to break the ankle of Adam Cole again by getting a chair. But Roderick Strong comes out and makes the save, but MJF runs away. And then guess who's there where MJF runs away to? Kyle O'Reilly. And he comes in, throws MJF into the ring, and they take their anger out on MJF, basically. The Undisputed Era is back without Bobby Fish. But yeah, the biggest pop was Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. Nobody cared about the match. It's really disappointing. The match just lacked heat, lacked care from the crowd. MJF didn't need to kick out of Adam Cole's finisher. It was not necessary. It was absolutely not necessary. They tried hard, but nothing mattered in the end. 2.5 stars average match. I just could not get into this match. So I think that's a fair score. Then move on to an AEW International Championship match between Konosuke Takeshita and Powerhouse Hobbs. So Powerhouse Hobbs shows early on why his name is Powerhouse Hobbs as he bounces Takeshita out of the ring, showing his brute force. Takeshita then drops Hobbs right on his knee onto the apron, which was previously injured. So he picks him up almost into a fireman's carry position and then just drops him onto his knees. And again, we have a match where someone is targeting the leg. So 2 matches back to back where someone is targeting the leg. Someone should have pointed that out. Takeshita then lands a vertical suplex from the apron to the outside of the ring, and then continues his slow, methodical offense that he has now come to develop under Don Callis. Powerhouse Hobbs lands a crossbody after being Irish whipped into the ropes, and this allows Hobbs to land a power slam for the 2 counts. Hobbs is trying to fight back now. But that doesn't last very long, as Takeshita lands a variation of the suplex. I don't even know if you can call it a suplex. It's a weird move that he often lands, where your head lands, or you land on the back of your neck rather than the top of your head. And that is, of course, a near fall for Powerhouse Hobbs. Both men to look to land lariats on each other, but Hobbs comes out on top with a lariat, and Takeshita takes a crazy backflip bump, but Hobbs only manages a 2 count on Takeshita. Takeshita then avoids an attack from Hobbs and lands a Blue Thunder Bomb, but Powerhouse Hobbs kicks out at one and hits a lariat on Takeshita, but Takeshita kicks out just in time, so making Hobbs look very strong here at this point in time. Takeshita then looks for a suplex, but they fall off the top rope, botching it, completely messing it up. Hobbs sells the leg, so it kind of helps the situation out. they basically get up and do it again. I hate it when wrestlers do that. Hobbs then takes off his knee brace for some reason after a little bit of action. And I don't understand why, because that knee brace is there to support your knee, support you from hurting yourself again. But nope, as soon as he takes it off, Takeshita targets the knee, locks in a guillotine, turns the guillotine into his Raging Fire finisher, which is basically like a Falcon Arrow. And then 1, 2, 3 gets the win. This finish made Hobbs look absolutely stupid, in my opinion. The match was going so well until the finish, which really annoyed me. Instead of capitalizing on his offense, he decides to take his brace off, which makes him look really stupid. So yeah. Other than that, decent match. I gave it 3.75 stars. It really could have been a 4-star match if not for that finish. I enjoyed the match a lot. We then moved on to a match between Mercedes Mone and Kris Statlander for the TBS Championship. Going into this match, I was expecting big things. I don't know if these two have wrestled before. They might have. I can't remember now. But I was expecting big things from this match. And going into the match, Statlander shows early on why she is a worthy competitor with her power and athleticism. And this gets the respect of Mercedes Mone early on. A bit of action back and forth. And we get to the point where Mercedes uses her Lucha Libre style and her speed to get the better of Statlander. But again, Statlander uses her power to absolutely ground Mercedes Mone. That was the story of the early parts of this match. Mercedes Mone then slips out of the grasps of Statlander and lands some sort of powerbomb off the turnbuckles onto the apron. So she slipped through the turnbuckles. They were fighting on the outside, on the turnbuckles. Slipped through, lands a powerbomb onto the apron. Pretty cool stuff. Statlander tries to make a comeback, but then Mercedes lands a backstabber, completely stopping Statlander right there and then. Mercedes then looks for Meteora, but Statlander reverses it into a powerbomb. So she catches her in the Meteora, powerbomb down. Great stuff from Statlander. Statlander lands multiple lariats over and over, and then lands a running knee into the corner, and then gets a rolling German, like what Chad Gable does. 1, 2, 3. No, she kicks out at 2. So near fall once again. Nice tornado DDT by Mercedes Mone, and Statlander just kicks out in time. And then Mercedes Mone lands the 3 amigos, but not 3. She lands 7 amigos and follows it up with a frog splash, but Statlander kicks out at 2.99. So again, we are at Pinfall Brigade here with this. Mercedes looks to land the double knees in the corner, but misses, and Statlander lands a package pile driver out of nowhere and kicks out. Now, if this was WWE, Statlander would be out of action for weeks. Weeks and weeks and weeks. But this is AEW, and things work a little bit differently here, apparently. So, I don't know. I don't know what that's about. We then get a moment in the match, which I'm still unsure about, but Mercedes Mone lands a moneymaker on the outside, which is basically her finisher. And then she rolls into the ring. But before the ref can count to 10, so about 8 or 9, she goes out, stops the ref's count, and does damage on Statlander's ankle, putting it in between the steel structure of the ring. Kind of putting it in there stuck. Climbs back in. And then again stops the count when the ref is close to 9 and does more damage. And I just didn't understand it. If you want to win by count out, let the ref count. So that was really silly to me, and that didn't make much sense. Statlander eventually makes it into the ring. She took her boot off to get out of there, and she rested the rest of the match without a boot. She lands an F5 onto Mercedes Mone, and Mercedes Mone kicks out. Mercedes then knocks Statlander off the turnbuckle towards the outside area, but not completely off, just knocks her silly. And then Mercedes Mone lands a tombstone pile driver on the apron, almost like a sit-out tombstone pile driver, obviously because of the height difference. And the ref begins to count, and while Mercedes is looking to celebrate the win again at 9.9, Statlander makes her way into the ring, and Mercedes Mone looks shocked. We then get some back and forth action, lariats, tombstones from Statlander, or what she tried to do tombstones, but it gets turned into an ankle lock. And then after a bunch of roll-ups from Mercedes and Statlander, Mercedes then ties up Statlander into a sneaky pin and gets the win out of nowhere. So not a definitive win, and I like it. I like the fact that Statlander is made to look strong here. She is the champ, or she is the challenger, and she can have another match without looking silly now, because she was competitive and she lost by a sneaky little pinfall. She didn't lose convincingly. With that being said, this match was absolutely excellent. Mercedes Moné proves her worth in the ring. Statlander was incredibly resilient throughout the match. And I don't think this will be the last match between these two. I really, really enjoyed the dynamic of power versus speed. And I gave it 4.25 stars. I thought it was really, really, really good. Mercedes Moné has been on fire lately, I have to admit. As much as I don't like her promo work, don't like a lot of the stuff she does, her in-ring work talks for itself once again. What can we say? So we then moved on to the Continental Classic Final between Will Ospreay and Kazuchika Okada. And this match feels big from the get-go. The crowd are into it before anything has happened. This is not the first time these two have met in a tournament final. Of course, that was the G1 where Okada won in the first time round. Can he win again? Well, you guys already know he did get the win. There is a stark contrast between the way Will Ospreay looks and the way Okada looks. Okada looks like he has not wrestled yet tonight. Will Ospreay looks like he went through a car crash, as they described on commentary. Will Ospreay looks absolutely rough, hasn't cleaned off all the blood yet, still got dry blood all over him, got a band around his head, a Band-Aid. He looks absolutely rough this moment, and I love that. I love the two contrasts, and we know exactly what's going to happen, and there's a story to be told from the get-go. From the get-go. Anyway, so the match starts as Ospreay dives into Okada on the outside, but takes a moment to catch a breather and then further show how he's hurting. So he really takes things slow after landing that dive to the outside. Ospreay then misses with a dive off a barricade, and that allows Okada to land a DDT on the floor at ringside. He then follows it up by a draping DDT off the apron, again at ringside, throws Ospreay in, and then lands normal DDT, goes for the pin, but Ospreay kicks out. So, like I said earlier, Okada was going for those DDTs. Ospreay then tries to fight back, but staggers after each and every strike that he fights back, and this allows Okada to land a neck breaker, which puts Ospreay down for the count, basically, but not quite. Okada then looks for another DDT, but Ospreay finally learns this and lands a nice snap suplex, and this is where Ospreay begins to fight back, as he lands a handspring kick and a phenomenal forearm for a near fall. Ospreay then gets drop kicked off the top rope, and his leg gets caught in the turnbuckle, and this is where Okada begins to target the leg of Ospreay. More leg action in this card. I think sometimes they got to look at what's on the card before they do something. What's already happened. Anyway, Ospreay then lands off cutter off the barricade onto Okada at ringside. Nice move there. This match was so good, so action packed. We get back into the ring, and he lands another Oz cutter, but Okada kicks out just in time. Okada then looks for the Rainmaker, but Ospreay avoids it, and Okada lands a huge shotgun drop kick in the end. Ospreay reverses another Rainmaker into a powerbomb, but doesn't let go this time and lands a Styles Clash, and this could be it. He ended the first match with it, no, but Okada kicks out. Okada then hits the Rainmaker, finally landing it. We think it's over. 1, 2, 3. No. Ospreay kicks out at the last. When I tell you the last possible moment, I mean it. Such a close near fall. Then Okada starts landing strikes on Ospreay, and Ospreay can barely stand up. It's all too much for Ospreay. His selling here is perfect. His selling is so great. He's growing in this role as a babyface. Honestly, he is. And I know he's a babyface for large portions of his career, but this is different now. He's main eventing now. This is not the main event, but you get what I'm trying to say. He's not just the underdog selling now. A headbutt from Okada then reopens up the wound of Ospreay, and he just starts to gush down with blood again. And now listen to these exchanges. I'm going to read these exchanges. Listen to this. So Okada goes for a Rainmaker, but Ospreay fires back with a standing Spanish Fly, which Okada then kicks out of. They both get up. Ospreay goes for the Oz Cutter, and Okada lands a drop kick into the Oz Cutter. Then Okada goes for the Rainmaker, but Ospreay dodges and lands a Rainmaker of his own, followed by a Stormbreaker, and surely that's it. But no, Okada kicks out. That was an insane sequence of moves and sequence in general. Fantastic stuff. I even wrote this is fantastic. Ospreay then goes for another Stormbreaker, but Okada gets out and lands the lariats, but maintains wrist control as they both go down. I absolutely love that when he's always got that wrist control ready for that Rainmaker. Ospreay then misses with the hidden blade. Okada misses with a Rainmaker. Okada counters out of a Stormbreaker attempt and lands Rainmaker of his own and finally gets the win over Will Ospreay. What a fantastic match. And the last 10 minutes was absolutely chef's kiss of that match. Chef's kiss. What I loved about this match is there was a great story being told throughout the match of not only Will Ospreay suffering through this after having that first match, but there's also the story of their history that they have. There is also the story of Ospreay being a mentor, or no, Okada being a mentor for Will Ospreay back in the day when Ospreay joined Chaos, his faction. There's so much story between these two guys. Match of the night so far, I wrote here, and it was match of the night in the end because the main event will get onto that. Post-match, we see a sign of respect by both men, and then out comes Christopher Daniels, and he says he's no longer an EVP, so he cannot present the title to Okada. And who comes out? Kenny freaking Omega is back just before his first match in New Japan coming up on January the 4th. He's back. He presents the title to Okada. A little bit of a stare down. We know what's next. I gave this match 4.75 stars, ladies and gentlemen, just short of the 5 stars. Why? Because I think they've had better matches, but this was still a fantastic match considering they've both worked the match already in the night. This is not them fresh. This is them doing double duty. So good. So good. 4.75 stars. Well deserved. Those last 10 minutes were just incredible. Incredible. Okay, we then have the Fatal 4-Way main event between Jon Moxley, the champion, versus Orange Cassidy, versus Hangman Adam Page, versus Jay White. Now, I'm not going to go into play-by-play for this match because why? Too much was happening, and quite frankly, I didn't enjoy the match that much. Just how it is. I will start by saying they targeted Jon Moxley from the very get-go, and all three men targeting Jon Moxley, and that is when Claudio Castagnoli and Marina Shafir start getting involved to try and even the odds. Now it's turned into some anarchy and arena type match when everyone just brawling out with each other until the security eventually gets rid of the Death Riders for now. Then we get a bit of back and forth action, constant three-way. Then we get the three men, so Adam Page, Orange Cassidy, and Jay White, power bombing Jon Moxley through the table, so triple power bomb, Shield style, and now it's a three-way match while Moxley's on the outside. Back and forth stuff, going head to head. Christian Cage and Hoko in the crowd. They've got their things. Christian Cage can obviously cash in his contract at any point. Yeah, that was that so far up to that point. Then we had back and forth action between everybody. Finishes were being landed, dead eyes, orange punches. There was Blade Runners. Just a lot of action happening in that moment. We eventually get the point where Jay White lands a Blade Runner on Adam Page and Moxley, but Wheeler then saves Moxley by taking out the ref. Marina Shafir then tries to attack Jay White, but she eats a Blade Runner and a huge pop for the night. Wheeler Yuta then lands a running knee on Jay White, which Moxley then follows it up with a Death Rider, and the ref counts the pinfall. There was a lot of action, but a lot of chaos in this match, and that is my problem with it. Decent work, but nothing memorable. We will forget this match real shortly. That's the truth. Nobody will remember this. What they will remember is what happened after the match. And that is when the Death Riders look to take out Jay White. And guess who makes the save? FTR. And Adam Copeland is back. Edge. Adam Copeland has made his return to All Elite Wrestling. And it seems like they are titled, I think they were titled this before at one stage, FT Rated R. And they lay claim that they are going to end Jon Moxley and end the Death Riders. I gave the match 2.75 stars. That's just how I felt. Did not enjoy it. Could have easily done without it. Did not care for it. Did not care for the build of it. 2.75? Are you guys going to kill me for it? I don't know. With that being said, that was AEW Worlds Collide and 2024. Hope you guys enjoyed my review of the show. A lot of play-by-play action. I don't know. Let me know. Do you guys enjoy the play-by-play? Or do you guys just want me to talk about a couple big moments and then maybe like the finish and that's it? I need you guys to let me know. The videos will obviously be shorter if that's the case. So, yeah. I'd like to hear that from you guys. I enjoy what I'm doing now. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. And we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Peace.